Mike, Joe Davidson, Sacramento. Are you allowed to go home and disconnect? Is this series on your mind constantly? Do you talk to your partner about it? Does she ask you, how's the Aaron or anything? Were you able to distance that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I got a couple of Harleys, and I jumped on my bike and had a nice ride maybe 2 days ago. I think I even wrote it into our coaches meeting. So Ro was real good at that. She knows how to get me to think about something other than this, and same with my Harley. But Ro, I like you better than the Harley. So that was a good trick question.
Hi, Mike. Kirsten with Fox 40 Sports. Earlier today, Kevin Herter talked about how multiple guys have stepped up in this playoff series, and you guys have found different ways to win. What have you learned about your team specifically in this playoff match against Golden State?
That they're competitive and they're resilient. I agree. We just find a way. It's not about this guy or that guy that have gone deep in the playoffs and has been an all-star his whole career and yada yada. We need different guys to step up at different times, and he hit it right on the head. We have, so that to me that means we're resilient. And these guys aren't laying over for they're champions, and they're swinging haymakers at us. And we've been down and we fought back. We've been up. They came back, and all those instances could have broken our competitive spirit. And they just keep fighting no matter what. And you're proud of them for that, and you see a lot of growth when that happens.
Mike, James Ham, ESPN 1320. When you watch De'Aaron tonight, what are you looking for to show you whether he's okay or whether he's not? Is there something that you think you'll be able to spot from the sidelines if this thing is going to work or if it's not?
No, he's been our guy. He's done a fantastic job in these playoffs so far. I told him, I said, you've done a lot for us, but I'm gonna keep asking for more because that's what you get paid for. And there's nothing that I'm gonna look for. He's gonna try to go tonight, and if he can go, great. If he can't, then the next guy has to be ready to step up. But I want him to go out there and play his game, be aggressive. I've never told him when to shoot, when not to shoot. I've always told him to be aggressive, trying to make a play for himself or his teammates whenever he feels ready, and he's done a fantastic job of that so far.
Mike, have you spent a lot of time or talked about it all, how your team was able to respond to that Klay Thompson 3 at the end of the third quarter in Game 4 and the 7-0 start to the fourth quarter when you need to have it, especially with Fox on the bench? Do you focus on things and hang your hats on moments like that, or do you expect that from this group even in their first playoff series?
No. There were moments during the game, obviously, where we played at a level that we were capable of, and then there are moments when we didn't. And in the third quarter, we didn't play the way we were capable of. Letting them get 9 free throw attempts, 8 second chance points in one quarter alone. That was a big quarter for us because we won every other quarter. And then in the fourth, we were doing it a lot of the games, but you can't gap Klay, you can't gap Steph, and so we focused on, hey guys, if we can lock in for 48, we're going to make some mistakes, but we made way too many mistakes in the fourth quarter on their floor against the champions. The game's right there for us, and I'm sure they feel the same way, but to be confident, to have that belief going in, you point out those, in my opinion, the little things as well as the things that you did well, because you say, see, when we do this is what happens, and you hang your hat on that overall, not just the one specific area, because at the end of the day, I tell our guys, they're good. They're going to go on runs, and they may be up double digits. We just got to stay with it without getting discouraged.
Mike, your offense was so good throughout the season. A lot of that built on three-point shooting. You guys are at just a little over 30% through 4 games. I just wonder, is there concern about that? Is there confidence that comes from knowing that maybe there's law of averages stuff at work here, and maybe those shots start to fall the longer the series goes?
No, Luke Laux and Robbie Lemons, they're on my staff. They obviously good at what they do. and what they do is above my head. But they told me an analytic stat that we're generating the most open threes on a per game basis in the playoffs, and that's great to hear because we're going against the NBA champions that know what it takes to win at this level, and so. If we're doing that, we want to continue doing that and continue letting it fly. Now, one of the things I've always cautioned everybody is we don't have a lot of guys that have been in key positions and have advanced in that's been in the playoffs, but especially advanced past the first round and been a big-time contributor to that advancement. And that in itself takes a lot out of you from the standpoint that we're not going to get the same shots as we get in the regular season. So they're taking away certain things to try to mess with your rhythm. And if you're not used to that, it can cause problems. On top of that, during the regular season, you demand the guys to play physical. You demand them to play, hard defensively and all that. But once they get in a playoff series and they realize how hard the other team's playing, especially, they know that they have to amp that up. And so now you add in the fact that physically you're busting your behind defensively, especially harder than you ever have. And it takes a lot of mental focus because you can't afford to have game plan slippage, so you're locked into what your job is. And now when you get that, glad we got those, but now when you get those open shots, Ramona, it was you? Hey, it's okay. Hey, that's a grand entrance. We glad you're here. Yeah, thank you. That's all right. We'll take it. But it's a shot that you're not used to because the pressure has increased, and so to be able to experience being in big games, to be able to experience that type of pressure, and finding success and winning gives you more confidence the next time out, and that's why I tell our guys, hey, I don't just let it fly. Because at the end of the day, we're gaining invaluable experience on all different types of level while winning that is hard to duplicate during the regular season.
Hey, Mike, kind of just alluded to it, but obviously the Warriors haven't been good on the road this year, but this core group, they've been a part of a lot of big-time road playoff wins. You've been a part of a lot of them. Is that something that you have to remind your team not to let up because they're here at home, or is it kind of gone without saying?
No, the importance of every game, whether it's here or it's on the road, is huge. And so, we don't try to, heighten the importance of a home game as opposed to an away game because we want to win every time we step on the floor. And we're trying to tell our guys or help our guys to as best we can to do it and do it all the time, again, no matter where we're playing.
Yeah, Coach Brendan Nunez, Kings Herald. Coming into the series, you mentioned the importance of physicality and pace, and then you shared after game 2 that you added poise to that list. Are those still your primary focuses going into today and the next games?
Yeah, we also talked about the possession game, because I thought, even in game 3, we would have given ourselves a chance to win if we would have been locked in on the possession game, to give up 19 offensive rebounds or whatever it is for 25 second chance points, having that many turnovers for 20-something seconds. And knowing that at the end of the game, Golden State shot 40% from the floor, you kick yourself in the behind because you didn't win the possession game. So I think we have to be physical on both sides of the ball. We have to play with great pace, not just in the full court, but in the half court. Too. We got to be poised because stuff's going to happen out there and we can't overreact to it. But at the end of the day, just like during the regular season, we have to win that possession game. And if we do, we'll at least give ourselves a legitimate chance to win the game.
Chris Peterman, Sacramento Bee. Mike, when they do something like switch Draymond onto De'Aaron, do you feel like you need to make a counter adjustment to do some things to get De'Aaron free from Draymond, or just what's your the way you think about matchups like that in as playoff series go?
No, I mean we play a lot of pick and roll. They've taken us out of our DHO game, but we made some adjustments to where we were able to get our guys a little bit more free coming off of Domus's DHOs in the last game, and we'll continue to try to find ways to play our DHO game by making adjustments. But at the end of the day, we're okay with Draymond guarding Foxy because we're playing a lot of pick and roll, and we feel he's got the green light. He knows he's got the green light. If he wants to attack without the pick and roll, great. But if he wants to utilize the pick and roll, he knows one's coming almost every single possession, and that's all you can do to try to free him up. You can play pick and roll with one guy first, and then play pick and roll with the big second to see if they switch, what they're doing a lot of. But it's up to De'Aaron. We trust him to go make a play, no matter who's in front of him.
Mike Christovaris, Fox 40 Sports. You've talked about how the mental load is so much higher, or how much heightened it is in the playoffs. Right. How much higher does it get when you're in Game 5 and it's a best of 3 and the margins for error are razor thin?
Not just Game 5, but the further along you go, it heightens. Because trust me, if you make it to the Western Conference Finals, if you think there's a lot of eyes on you now, the eyes are going to multiply 20, 30, 40 times. The media mass is going to really increase, and everybody's going to be analyzing every part of your game and what you're doing off the floor and all that other stuff. So as you go along in a playoff series, especially if it's one that's competitive, as you go along in your playoff run, the deeper you get, it's the more heightened it's going to be. And it's easy to sit here and talk about it, which I will and have with our guys, but they just need to go through it. And not only go through it, but sometimes experience the downs of not getting it done so that it impacts you in a way that makes you want to work harder for the next year, and or experiences the successes so that at the end of the day, you have that belief and that confidence that, okay, you know what, I can do this, but I know I have to play here while believing I can get it done. And if I do, I can show that I can get it done.
Mike, I just wonder, going back to De'Aaron, how impressed you are with his want to here in this situation. He's obviously hurting, and Domas has done this all year with his thumb. To have your top two guys just come out and say, no, I'm not sitting, I'm going to play. How do you feel about that, and what is that? Maybe what message does that send to the rest of the locker room?
No, it sends a big message. You want your guys to have not just a physical toughness, but a mental toughness, and it's great if it starts from your leadership and trickles down. And people forget that Keegan got banged up and continued to play too. And I'm sure he probably looked at Domus back then, and maybe some of the other guys that might have been hurt at certain times and said, "No, tape it up. I'm gonna continue to go." You need that because at this time of the year, maybe not to that extent, but this time of the year, everybody's banged up, and the further along you go in the playoffs, that's some more guys that you'll have that are a little bit beat up. Thank you, guys.